Secure the Bag content is intended for collegiate athletes. Secure the Bag does not provide financial services, financial planning, investment, tax, legal, or sports agent advice or services. All right, welcome to episode 2 of our college series for Secure the Bag. Today, I am joined by Washington wide receiver, first team All Pac-12, Rome Odunze. Great to have you, man. Thanks for being on the Secure the Bag podcast.
Yeah, thank you. No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I got to meet Rome a little while back, doing Secure the Bag, our financial literacy program, to the University of Washington. We've hit it off and have been talking about NIL and some stuff, and I thought you'd be a great guest. So first off, Rome, first question I have for you is just tell people a little bit about your background and where you're from, where you grew up, stuff like that.
Yes, sir. So I was born in Utah, like Provo, Orem, Utah. It's like 40 minutes from Salt Lake. And then I moved to Vegas when I was 3. So I pretty much tell people I was born and raised in Vegas because that's where I'm from. That's where I tell people I'm from and where I was raised. So I grew up playing football. Always loved sports. Football just stuck for some reason. So decided to pursue that. And it's been going pretty well for me. So yeah, It's a little bit.
Awesome. So growing up in Vegas kind of unique, right? That's a travel destination for most where people spend a couple days there.
Yeah.
What got you, growing up in Vegas, what was that like? And what you said, you fell in love with football at a young age. What originally got you into football?
Okay, yeah. Growing up in Vegas, it's very a unique city, and I learned that even more when I moved out here to Seattle. That how unique Vegas was, just because you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, at whatever time of the day. Like the city never sleeps, and they make everything so convenient, so catering, just because it's the number 1 entertainment capital of the world. So they want people coming in, easing their mind, having fun, having a stress-free weekend where they can pretty much do whatever they want. So. I had fun with that. I stayed on the outskirts. I wasn't on the strip all the time just because, you got to be 21 plus to be up there. But so I was on the outskirts chilling with my boys. But it definitely has its perks. It's growing and growing and growing. So but I remember it was on the outside of the strip. It kind of seems like a small town vibes in some ways. So it was definitely a lot of fun growing up there. But then I got into football just because I wanted to play football. I don't remember exactly. I was telling my mom I wanted to play football, and they wanted to put me in flag because you couldn't be in tackle until 6. So I was telling her at like 4 or 5, like, Mom, like I want to play tackle. Like, I want to play tackle, and I would be mad because I couldn't yet because I was only a youngin. So I got my 6th birthday and immediately signed up. And been playing ever since. I remember playing Little League. I had my Little League coach, Jack Waldron, and the Waldron family. They had a team called the Henderson Jaguars and Henderson Lions, and we ran it up. And then I fell in love with the sport those years, and carried it through.
All right, so you had kind of you knew what you wanted to do early on, right? So you're fortunate in that sense. You played a great youth squad, and then you went to a pretty historic high school football. So you went to Bishop Gorman, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. Well, what was that experience like? I know you had a lot of success there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was good. I was fortunate enough to go there. My mom was working hard so I could get in there and, play football because they had the best football program in the state. So it was crazy at first because they just had came off winning their first national championship, and I was coming in. And then they won the second one the year I was a freshman with Tate Martell and all those older guys and his squad. So it was an interesting dynamic. I was a little fish in a big pond. So I just went in there, started playing football. I first played DN. I was at DN my freshman year, hand in the dirt. Yeah, I had my hand in the dirt. So the path to becoming a wide receiver was a little bit shaky at first. But yeah, it was a challenge for real because, there was talented guys everywhere. So it was a little bit of an introduction to how college is, just a little bit. But I started to separate myself, had a great junior year, great senior year, was able to get some offers, and definitely grateful for the blessing that Gorman provided me for sure.
Awesome. Well, what made that switch? So had you been playing defense when you were with the Henderson Jaguars, or so
Yeah,
you were a
yeah.
defensive player. So up until what, midway through high school, there was nothing to tell you that you would be this top flight wide receiver.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I played a little bit of quarterback when I was in little league, and but I never threw the ball. I was just basically direct snap running back. So wildcat, we was running wildcat. So I knew I had some offensive talent. I scored some touchdowns little league for sure, and had success there. But no, I never played receiver before. Um, one of my homies, Donovan Smith, who's at Houston right now, was a quarterback. So I was like, okay, he'll be quarterback. I'll be his top receiver. We'll be a dynamic duo. That was my mindset going into it. But yeah, got tossed in the fire over there at Gorman and played defense for a little bit. But I liked it. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. What led to the switch to the offensive side of the ball? And were you excited about it? Were you a little nervous about it? What was your thought process and what led to the switch?
Yeah, I was definitely excited. I mean, I was definitely nervous too, just because, those coaches over there, they was grilling me they didn't believe in my wide receiver skills.
Mhm.
I got told down plenty of times because, either I wasn't catching the ball or I wasn't doing this or doing that right for them. So freshman year was tough. So my confidence got lowered. But I always knew that I wanted to play offense just because I like scoring touchdowns. I like to celebrate. I like the offensive side of the ball. I'm on the attack mode. So yeah, sophomore year, I got brought up and after playoffs because they bring some young cats up to the
Mhm.
varsity team for playoffs just to like have some extra heads. So yeah, I was like, I'm playing offense. I'm playing offense. So I told them straight up I was playing offense and I had some that started developing my skills as a receiver. I had showed them a little bit, so they couldn't deny anymore. But yeah, I was excited, man, and took off from there.
Awesome. So how quickly, because we know you had a lot of success, how quickly did it take you to find that success? And when did you realize, all right, I'm him, as
Right.
the kids say, right, in terms of receiver, and you were gonna have the opportunity to play at the Power Five level.
Right. Yeah, it was really, I would say my junior year. Freshman year was tough, didn't play too much receiver a little bit. Sophomore year got brought up, was playing receiver, but then I broke my collarbone. So I was out like pretty much the whole season. And then I came back. And I came back and I was like, and I was pretty good. Like I played in the varsity game against Liberty. I had a couple catches. So I was fired up. And then my junior year came and I knew I was having success. I was going to camps and going to, expecting the season coming. And I was really, really having fun with it. Really felt like I was separating from a lot of the guys. And, I've always felt like I could get it done. And like if I put my mind to it really, and I put my mind to playing receiver and being one of the best. So once I did that, I was really on a mission and I wasn't going to stop until I accomplished that. And luckily enough, junior year, senior year, I made a bunch of plays, and I had that confidence definitely going into college that I was going to be able to do big things for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So you're making plays, you are, garnering attention. How did you decide? What was the recruiting process like for you?
Right.
Because a lot of guys from Pop Warner, they know what position they're playing. You kind of your success mirrors life. A lot of times it's peaks and valleys. So tell me, as you started to get recruited, what was that experience and like, and ultimately what led you to UW?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying, it was ups and downs. For me, the recruiting process, like I hated it. Like I was in love with playing ball and I just liked playing ball. And I really didn't realize the business side to like college football at the time. And all the recruiting and all the, disingenuous, I think that's what it is. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Disingenuous people out there. I mean, I think there's just so many people out there. It's hard to kind of gauge who's real and who's, giving you empty promises and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was hard because I had so many people blowing up my phone that, I wasn't texting anybody back. I was just trying to figure out, the best spot for me through, statistics, stuff like that. My pops is really big into statistics. So he was looking up, people that put wide receivers into the NFL and stuff like this, stuff like that. But Washington was on me early. and Coach Peterson and Coach Adams were really personal with me. Luckily enough, they actually ended up having a bowl game in Las Vegas my senior year. So they practiced at Gorman. So I built up a relationship with them, and I really thought that they cared about me as a person and as a player. So I thought for sure they were gonna give me the best opportunity. But the recruiting process was tough. People were blowing up my phone. I had my stuff on Do Not Disturb for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. So you finished your senior year. You were the Gatorade Player of the Year, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So you have a lot of expectations. How did you go from, what was that transition like, from clawing your way up, changing positions at Gorman to then starting being low man on the totem pole again at Washington? Did it prepare you? Like, did your experience with Gorman prepare you for what to expect at Washington?
Definitely. For sure. Because, when I came into Gorman, like I said, they were, highly recruited guys there, doing big things already. So I was at the bottom, looking up. So it was kind of the same thing coming into UW with that. I was at the bottom. Great guys within here, like Ty Jones, Puka Nacua, Terrell Bynum, all those guys who were mentors for me and for leaders for me. But yeah, it definitely shaped my transition a little bit, just because I already knew what to expect. I already kind of seen it. So there was that doubt, there was that nervousness a little bit at first, but once I got into the groove of things and I started to make plays here and there, I felt like, it was going to be the same sort of process that I kind of went through with Gorman. But I would say it was a little bit easier of a transition just because, the guys that out here at UW are super personable, super genuine, all good dudes. So they was kind of encouraging me through the process, where at Gorman, it was like, you kind of on your own, like, I'll figure it out. So, yep.
So you had to figure it out in a kind of a tougher situation at a younger age. So this was kind of easy for you in terms of dealing with any trials and tribulations that you went through.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because I came in through COVID too. So we was really on some isolation, like just figuring it out, which I honestly liked. I know COVID was bad for a lot of people, but I was in a good situation. So just playing ball.
That's awesome. So when did you make this jump, right? You went from, you just started trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do. You take this huge leap in your next year to what you guys did last year was historic. Tell me about kind of what that process has been like and how fun has it been to do what you guys are currently doing? Oh,
it's a blast. I know, especially going through those beginning stages of COVID and a 4-8 year, like, I always kept my hopes, sort of up, that something good would be coming, just because, how many times in life, you get knocked down, and some blessings around the corner. So I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe you got to go through those emotions, go through those times of tribulation to get to the success, because, you never know when it's just around the corner, what you've been waiting for. So it's been a blessing. Thanks to this coaching staff, thanks to the, strength and conditioning staff, we, as a team, who we brought in, who's remained, and who we went out there with last year. We had an amazing year, and it really was a blessing. One of the funnest times of football that I've had, for sure, just because, no one believed we were going to do those things. So, but internally we knew like what we was going to do. We knew it was possible. So, to go out there and prove everybody wrong was a blessing for sure. And looking to go, prove some more people wrong this year, even though we got higher expectations.
Absolutely. And tell me, I think so often people see the result, right? They see, what you guys did on the field and they think it's amazing. But obviously the foundation for that is laid in the offseason. Coming in with a new coaching staff, right? How did you guys build that camaraderie, and how did you know, or when did you know, or did you know, right? Like, you might know we're getting along, but when did you know, hey, in the off season, hey, we got a chance to be really, really special this year?
Right. Yeah, definitely. No, it was definitely a process, because, at first it was just like us as the players kind of versus the coaches in a little bit, like, players kind of being stuck in their ways, wanting to do these things that way. From our previous staff, that we did some things that we liked, some things that we didn't. it was kind of just like us versus them trying to figure each other out, and see what each other, sort of philosophy and like work ethic and kind of message vibe was. So for the beginning, it was like that. And I remember like the first meeting with the board, he walked into the room and it was just like dead silent. Like nobody said anything. He was just talking and everybody was just kind of starstruck from the situation that we were in, I think. But gradually, like we started to believe more and more, believe in ourselves. And like the coaches seen that in us and they started, catering to how we wanted to be coached and how they, I mean, with a combination of what they think needed to be coached and what needed to be done. And it was honestly like a beautiful piece of just us, grinding, working hard, collaborating, understanding what needed to be done. And I think, through the summer workouts, through all the, the winter conditioning and all that, by the time we hit fall camp, like we knew that we were going to go out there and do something special. And we went through fall camp, understanding that we had the season coming up. And, there was, of course, that little bit of a doubt. We have never played it down with this staff, with this squad. So we didn't really know exactly what was going to go on. But when we went out there and we had success versus Kansas State, versus Michigan State, had our two setbacks with ASU and UCLA. But I think, from beginning to the end of fall camp, we felt like we had a shot.
Awesome. And you got my guy, Coach Shep out there. Shout out Coach Shep. What has he kind of meant for your development? And just what's it been like working with him day to day?
Oh, it's been amazing. Coach Shep's the man. As soon as he came in, I just tell people, like, as soon as he came in, he was the exact person that he is. And if you ever get the chance to meet Coach Shep or you see videos of him, he's high energy, he's loud, and he remains consistent. From the day that he came in to interview for the job, we got the chance to say what's up to him. And he was high energy, same sort of vibe. And I was just like, man, there's just no way he can keep this energy up forever. Like, this got to be an act. He's excited that he's here, whatever he's trying to show us, like that he's really going to come in and do this. But man, I mean, if anything, he's done elevated his energy even more than what he's done already. So, he's remained consistent with that, remained his consistent approach with, getting us better and always trying to find new tactics, new messages to inspire us and motivate us and get us right on the field. So really, Coach Shep has been a blessing to my career and to my life. Such a great mentor, such a great coach. And man, I love that dude.
That's awesome. So speaking of consistency, how do you stay consistent? I think one of the things I talk about in terms of money is the importance of being consistent and the importance of the habits that you create. How do you remain consistent? How do you work out or do the things you need to do on the days you don't feel like doing it? Right? I think our lives are determined by how we respond on the days that we don't feel like doing something. So how do you do that? Because you don't have the success you do unless you're able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, one of the biggest things that brought me success was getting my routine, and then just continuously practicing your routine. And that way, like things that were hard at the beginning of your routine when you first started it, become easy, just because of your mindset. Not that it became easier, in like physically or, in an actual physical sense, but just the fact that your mind, you've been doing it for so long that it triggers in your mind that, it's just second nature at that point. I think having that routine, getting up at a certain time and sticking to that, going to sleep at a certain time, sticking to that, working out at a certain time and sticking to that, doing my schoolwork at a certain time. All those things kind of create a routine and a track that helps me remain consistent in my approach. And since I set my routine at like a high standard, I feel like that has really been beneficial to me because, you don't want to set your routine to sleeping in to this time and going to bed late at that time. So creating my routine and kind of sticking to that has helped me remain consistent with, the different challenges that are thrown at your way, for sure.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And you talked about, setting your environment up for success, right? If you set your environment up for the results that you want, and then it just becomes what you do, right? Yeah. Excellence is a habit that you just breathe through consistency and how you set up your lifestyle. I love that. Yeah. So obviously there's been a big change the last couple of years in college football, right? And we've talked a lot about this, and part of the reason that we've kind of started talking, the main reason is NIL and financial literacy. So tell me a little bit about what the experience has been like for you with the NIL and how you feel about it in terms of college athletics and your experience with it.
Right. Absolutely. I think, it's been interesting forever. We've had discussions, whether it's a barbershop or locker room about players, getting paid and how that would look. And, and it was never really, you know, you know, in my mind that it would really happen when I was in college football. I had no clue what was going to go down, but it's always been something that I've been an advocate for. Never knew how they would instill it. So through NIL, it's been interesting. I think I don't know when it got stated, but when it first did, I know it was definitely like just so new for everybody. Like everybody figuring out the rules. Nobody knows what's going on. Like especially out here, everybody was figuring it out. Everything was pretty quiet off the beginning. But I think that through people learning and educating themselves and learning different things, it's provided a lot of opportunities for people. And I think that it's something that's good for college athletes, just because, put in so much work. We deserve to reap some of the rewards of, the sacrifices that we've made. So I think that, there definitely could be a few tweaks to it, like here and there, but I mean, it's hard to navigate it. So I hope there's people out there smarter than me thinking of ideas to contain it, because, it's crazy. But for me, like I said, it was quiet. I got to, have some opportunities, through camps and through different stuff. We have a collective out here that, helps do those things. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to do some things for them to bring in some money through NIL. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing for me. I just look at it as, a little money on the side, really. I have my main goal. I have the NFL, which I'll be using to financially support myself and my family. So for me, it's just been an opportunity to meet, guys like you, DDA, who can teach me a few things about finances and sort of educate myself, because for so long, guys have been hearing the statistic about, whatever it is, 90% of, professional athletes are broke by the time they're blah, blah, blah. They're 5 years out of their league or whatever. So for me, I ain't come from a lot of money. So I was like, when I get my money, I want to make sure I keep it. So for me, it's been an opportunity really to financially educate myself and kind of get into the business world and see what I can do with it. And, see which connections I can make with and network with. So that way, when I'm making my big bucks, hopefully I got the right people to talk to and right people to connect with. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. It's a training ground, right? It's a practice run for the ultimate prize and ultimate goal. And, one of the things I tell you guys all the time, it doesn't matter. Having more money doesn't make you better with money, right? So if you can't manage $1,000, you can't manage $1 million. So I can tell you take all that to heart, man. And I have no doubt that you've got a tremendous success ahead. My last question for you, we've talked a lot about football, NIL. What do you like to do outside of, football? I know you love to give back. You can tell us a little bit about what you did today with your football camp. And then what does Rome like to do just the rare times when he has nothing to do? What do you like to do?
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. I like you said, I'm a big advocate for giving back. I feel like I've been blessed in my life. Just from the people around me giving to me. So I like to give back. I had a youth football camp today. It was a lot of fun, but I had 100 kids up at the high school, Roosevelt High School, just up the street from my house. So that was an amazing event. Also had the dog derby yesterday, which was a fishing event. We were really able to raise some money for the Tulalip Boys and Girls Club, which is a indigenous tribe out here, to have some fishing poles and some extra money to, get their boys and girls some equipment. So it's been a great opportunity, also possible through NIL, because a lot of opportunities open up to give back through NIL events and stuff like that. So been a blessing. But other than that, I like to hang out with my friends, play video games. I play a lot of video games. Movie watcher for sure. In the theaters in the theaters. I gotta go watch. There's a couple I gotta go see, like Transformers, Oppenheimer, Barbie. I gotta watch all of them. Yeah, I mean, I like to be outdoors. I like to play. If I'm not playing football, I'm trying to play some other sport, basketball. They got the little pickleball. I tried pickleball the other day. That's good on the knees right there. That's why all them old folks be out there on the pickleball. But yeah, man, just relaxing things like video games or a low tempo sort of sport. Other than football, the little time that I do get, like you said.
Okay. And I lied. I do have one more question. Football, we know it can't last forever, right? You obviously got a great head on your shoulders. What have you thought about what life is like after football, and what do you see yourself, if anything, doing? What interests do you have where you think, hey, once the game's done, I'd love to pursue this?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that you asked that. I just took a course, actually. It was called Adulting 101. My guy Sonny was teaching it, and we talked about this, and something that I've thought about a lot, just because from a football standpoint, I think like you said, I'll be okay. Like financially, I'll be okay. Everything will be good. I feel like the biggest thing for me is like trying to find a sense of fulfillment outside of football. Like football for me for so long has been, my biggest source of fulfillment, just because I put so much effort, put so much sacrifice into it, and have reaped so many rewards from it as well. So something that's been instilled for me since I was 6. So I think after football, I'll be definitely looking into building up my foundation, for one, trying to find places to give back to people, communities to help, especially out in Vegas where I'm from. Hopefully get back to the city, especially out here as well, Seattle, where I kind of made a name for myself. I also have looked into broadcasting and being that guy, maybe like a football version of like Shaq, Charles, Kenny, and Ernie and all them. And I like to laugh. I like to chuckle, and pop jokes. So I think a football version of that would be a lot of fun. Where a couple of so hopefully I'm a legend by then. Where some legends can just chop it up, give their opinions on game, but also have a good time and people enjoy watching. So I would think something like that would be my dream come true after football, for sure.
Awesome, and I got no doubt you're gonna make it happen, man. Well, I appreciate you, man. Best of luck this season. You had a tremendous year last year. You're a tremendous young man. I've enjoyed getting to know you. Where can folks follow you on social media?
On social media, it's just going to be Rome Odunze, ROMEODUNZE. And then same thing on Twitter, just capital R and then capital O on the Odunze. Both of those are kind of my main sources of media. So I'll be on there posting pictures, tweeting. So yeah, and the Huskies this fall, come tap in. We got our first game, Boise State. I think it's September 2nd. And then Michigan State afterwards, but it's gonna be an electric season. So make sure y'all looking out for us.
Awesome. You said it. Go Huskies. All right, Rome. I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
My dog, appreciate it. Right. Have a good one.
You too. Peace.